Hey guys, welcome to another edition of The Watch Collector. My name's Ollie. Today we are at the pre-launch. The first time in the UK, our collectors are getting to preview the brand new SPACEONE Worldtimer piece. Before we get into it, of course, the obligatory wristwatch check, and today I'm wearing the Patek Philippe 5726A. So, as many of you will already know, SPACEONE absolutely killed it with their jumping hour, especially the back to earth and the Tellurium. Well, this is their third model, and it's the Worldtimer. And they've got 3 individual models, all of them in grade 5 titanium, one in silver, one in black, and the third, which is my personal favorite, in this really lovely blue. The black and the blue are DLC coated, and it really produces a really wonderful contrast against these dials. So let's just talk about the dimensions first of all, because when I first saw these pieces, or the renderings of these pieces, I thought it's going to look too big and bulky. The numbers alone probably tell you that they might be. 41.9 millimeters in length, 52.7 millimeters in width, and 15.88 millimeters in height. But I tell you what, and you'll see this when I throw it on the wrist, it doesn't look or wear like that when you put it on. On top of that, because it's grade 5 titanium, you're talking about extremely light. So super wearable, really nice feeling to the touch, very curvaceous, really quite sexy when you run your fingers over it. The design is outstanding. Now, before we talk about the 3 separate dials and obviously this particular complication, let's talk about the movement itself. So it's from Soprod, but it has been heavily modified and adjusted by, of course, Théo Auffret, who has really established himself as one of the young watchmakers around, and the pieces under his own name are outstanding. And for him to lend his expertise and know-how to pieces like this at the price point of whether it's the jumping hour, the Tellurium, and now the Worldtime, honestly, the value you get for these is amazing. So let's have a look at it. So we have not 1, 2, 3 separate dials. It almost has hints of the Vianney Halter Antigua, really. It's really offbeat, but really fun, actually really very legible. And what's nice about here is, as I mentioned, because it's Worldtime, you've got the 24 capital cities around the edge of this particular dial. The way it's presented, the way it looks, I'm going to throw it on the wrist now, this is unmistakable. So let me do that so you can have a real understanding and visualization of what it looks like. And of course, you always have to remember that you have the space thrusters on the back, just to give you that extra hint that if you didn't know it was a spaceship, it is now. So you can see the way that, particularly with the way that the lugs are, i.e. there aren't any, and on this strap, it's so comfortable, it pulls right around your wrist. It really is quite, as I said, if you think of the numbers, that watch is not going to be wearable. Trust me, it is. And it's so light. It just doesn't look like it's a 52.7 via 41.9 millimeter watch. It really doesn't. It's so wearable. And honestly, in this color combination, the contrast between the dials and the blue DLC coating, for my money, it's an absolute winner, and particularly this combo. The silver and the black look great, but this blue is something special. So that's the SPACEONE brand new Worldtimer for 2025, pre-launch. It's not going to be a limited edition model. It's a full production model, but it will be limited by production. So it would literally only be a few hundred a year. That's it. And again, this price point with this design, modified by Théo Auffret, I mean, what more can you ask for at this, especially at this price point? So that's the SPACEONE Worldtime. That's enough from me. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.